$4,000, Gloria. It was a sale, Marcus. You wouldn't understand. You wear the same 3 shirts on rotation like a hospital patient. $4,000. On handbags. In one afternoon. While I'm sitting here looking at whether we can afford to fix the roof before winter. Oh, here we go. The martyr routine. You've been doing this for 30 years, Marcus. You sit at that table with your little papers and your little calculator, and you act like the world is ending because I bought myself something nice. Something nice. You leased a Mercedes at $1,100 a month. I drive a Honda with 211,000 miles on it. I pack my lunch every day. Every single day, Gloria. Brown bag, turkey sandwich, and you spent $4,000 on handbags this afternoon. Because I deserve it. I raised your children. I kept this house. I gave you the best years of my life. You gave me the best years of your spending. There's a difference. Excuse me? When was the last time you worked, Gloria? Not talked about working. Not mentioned a business idea over brunch with your friends. Actually worked. Earned a paycheck. Deposited it into our account. I don't have to listen to this. You're boring, Marcus. You've always been boring. The only interesting thing about you is your paycheck. Say that again. You heard me. Yes, I did. A phone call. Mr. Devereaux, I've reviewed everything you sent. 31 years of bank statements, credit card records, the lease agreements, the tax returns. You've been organizing this for a while. 3 years. Before you even filed. I'm a structural engineer, Miss Shelford. I don't demolish anything without understanding exactly what's holding it up. She's going to claim equitable distribution. 30 years of marriage in this state, her attorney will argue she's entitled to 50% of the pension. That's $1.2 million. I know what she'll argue. And you're confident the forensic analysis will hold. Sandra Chen has been compiling the report for 14 months, 94 pages, every transaction, every receipt, every spa retreat booked while I was burying my mother alone. Marcus, I have to ask, why didn't you leave sooner? Because I needed the numbers to be undeniable. Emotion loses in court, Ms. Shelford. Evidence wins. I've been building my case the same way I build bridges. Load-bearing data. Stress-tested conclusions. No room for collapse. Then, let's go to court. County Family Court. Fluorescent lighting. Oak veneer tables. Water pitchers sweating condensation rings onto the wood. Your Honor, my client, Gloria Devereaux, devoted 30 years of her life to this marriage. She sacrificed career opportunities to maintain the household, raise 2 children, and support her husband's career as a structural engineer. We are seeking equitable distribution of marital assets, including 50% of Mr. Devereaux's pension, valued at approximately $2.4 million. Ms. Shelford, your response. He disputes the characterization of sacrifice, and he intends to demonstrate with documentary evidence that the financial reality of this marriage was not a partnership, it was a subsidy. That's offensive, Your Honor. Mr. Ashe, you'll have your opportunity. Continue, Ms. Shelford. Thank you. Over the course of this marriage, Mr. Devereaux contributed 100% of the household income. His pension was built through 34 years of continuous employment. Mrs. Devereaux's longest period of employment was 4 months as a receptionist in 2003, which she voluntarily left. We will present a forensic accounting analysis that documents how marital funds were allocated over 3 decades, and we believe the court will find that Mrs. Devereaux has already received her equitable share. And then some. That's absurd. She raised his children. Mr. Ashe. Apologies, Your Honor. Mrs. Devereaux, I want to hear from you directly, in your own words. Tell me about your contributions to this marriage. Your Honor, I gave Marcus everything. I kept his home, I raised his children, our children. I cooked, I cleaned, I made sure he had a life worth coming home to. And, after 30 years, he wants to throw me away like I'm nothing. He's punishing me for getting older. Ms. Shelford, is your client prepared to respond? He is, Your Honor. But first, we'd like to present Exhibit A. Exhibit A, Your Honor, is a summary of household income sources over 31 years of marriage. As you can see, 100% of deposited income came from Mr. Devereaux's employment. Mrs. Devereaux's total earned income across the entire marriage was $6,800 from her 4 months of employment in 2003. $6,000 in 31 years? Mrs. Devereaux, is that accurate? We agreed I would stay home. Marcus wanted me to stay home. That's not what I asked? Is the number accurate? Yes. My client brought a packed lunch to his own divorce hearing, Your Honor. A turkey sandwich in a brown paper bag. That is how he has lived for 31 years. That is the man she called boring. Ms. Shelford, let's keep this focused on the financials. Of course, Your Honor, the financials are exactly my point. You're trying to humiliate me in front of a judge, Marcus. No, I'm trying to show a judge what I lived with for 31 years. I raised your children. Our children are 28 and 25. They've been out of the house for 7 years. What was your contribution for those 7 years, Gloria? What was your contribution for the 15 years before that when they were in school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.? You don't get to reduce motherhood to a timesheet, and you don't get to inflate it into a pension claim. I built a life for us, Marcus. You decorated a life I funded. There's a difference you've never been willing to see. That's cruel. You didn't invest in this marriage, Gloria. You liquidated it. Slowly. Over 30 years. And now you're upset the account is empty. Your Honor, Exhibit B is a categorized summary of Mrs. Devereaux's discretionary spending over the marriage, designer clothing and accessories, $340,000, spa treatments and cosmetic procedures, $190,000, personal vacations taken without Mr. Devereaux, $220,000, gifts to extended family members, $90,000 to $5,000, dining and entertainment, $180,000, leased luxury vehicles, $396,000, miscellaneous luxury purchases, $449,000. Your Honor, this is inflammatory. Mr. Ashe, sit down. Ms. Shelford, what is the total? By one spouse, over 30 years, and Mr. Devereaux's discretionary spending over the same period? Approximately $90,000 to $1,000, Your Honor. Mostly books, fishing equipment, and a single vacation to see his mother before she passed. This was a partnership, Marcus. That's what marriage is. A partner builds equity. A dependent collects dividends. You were never confused about which one you were. I can't believe you're saying this to me. I can't believe it took me 31 years to say it. When did you become this person? This cold, calculating? I've always been this person, Gloria. You just never looked closely because you were too busy spending to notice. You sat across from me for 30 years and said nothing. You're right about that. You are. I sat across from you for 30 years and I chose silence over confrontation. That's a fair criticism. But here's what you're missing. 30 years of silence isn't patience. It's a man calculating his exit with the precision of an engineer. So, this was all planned? All of it? The bridge was failing. I documented the cracks. That's what engineers do. I am entitled to half of that pension. 30 years. You want half of what I built? Name one brick you laid. 1. I'll wait. I kept your house. You lived in my house. You ate my food. You drove my credit into a Mercedes dealership every 36 months. That's not keeping a house. That's occupying one. Why are you doing this? You have the money. Just give me what's fair and let me go. Fair, that word. You keep using it like it's a magic spell. Let me tell you what fair looks like from where I've been sitting for 31 years. Marcus, fair is me waking up at 5:15 every morning, for 31 years, driving 40 minutes to a job site, standing in weather you wouldn't walk your dog in, engineering structures that will outlast both of us, then driving 40 minutes home, to a woman who told her friends I was boring but useful. I never said, I've seen the text messages, Gloria. Boring but useful. August 14th, 2019. To Janine, want me to read the rest? You didn't sacrifice a career for this family, Gloria. You avoided one. There's a difference the court can measure. I had opportunities. Name one opportunity you turned down because of this marriage. One job offer, one acceptance letter, one interview you canceled. I've asked my attorney to search for any record of it. There is none, because it doesn't exist. You didn't sacrifice anything. You simply never started. You saw it as a holding pattern, a financial instrument you could draw from indefinitely while contributing nothing. And the pension, this demand for half my pension, it proves it. Because even now, even in this courtroom, you're not asking me what went wrong. You're not asking how we got here. You're asking how much you can take with you on the way out. That's not. It is. It's exactly what this is. You are sitting in a courtroom asking a judge to award you half of something you never built, never funded, and never respected. And the only argument you have, the only one, is that you were present. You were in the building. That is not contribution, Gloria. That is attendance. And attendance doesn't vest. Your Honor, the defense calls Sandra Chen, forensic accountant. Ms. Chen, please state your qualifications. Certified forensic accountant, 18 years of practice, and financial misconduct analysis. Ms. Chen, how long have you been working on this case? 14 months. And, Mr. Ash, were you aware of this forensic analysis prior to today? No, Your Honor, we were not. We would have requested, it was disclosed in the pre-trial filings, Your Honor. Page 47, Exhibit C, Attachment. Chen. I compiled a 94-page analysis of the Devereaux household finances from 1993 to 22-4. I tracked every account, every credit card, every lease, every major purchase. I categorized expenditures by individual and by necessity versus discretionary. And your findings? Mrs. Devereaux's total discretionary spending over the marriage was $1.87 million. Mr. Devereaux's was $90,000. The ratio is approximately 20-1. Your Honor, this is Ash. I will not tell you again, Ms. Chen. Was there any particular expenditure that stood out? Several. But one in particular. On March 9, 2018, Mrs. Devereaux booked a $14,000 two-week spa retreat in Sedona, Arizona. And what was happening in the Devereaux household on March 9, 2018? Mr. Devereaux's mother, Eleanor Devereaux, had passed away 3 days earlier. On March 6th, Mr. Devereaux arranged and paid for the funeral alone. Mrs. Devereaux was in Sedona. Gloria, is that true? Marcus said he could handle it. I didn't ask what he said. I asked if it's true. Were you at a spa in Arizona while your husband buried his mother? Yes. Ms. Chen, one more item. In your analysis, did you find any evidence that Mrs. Devereaux contributed financially to the pension she is now claiming? None. 0 contributions. The pension was funded entirely through Mr. Devereaux's payroll deductions over 34 years of continuous employment. Mrs. Devereaux had no involvement in its accumulation whatsoever. 94 pages, Gloria. Every receipt, every swipe, every spa day, every lease payment, every handbag while I packed turkey sandwiches. You had someone following my money for 14 months? You called me boring. Boring men build pensions. Exciting men build debt. Choose carefully which one you mock. Marcus, please, can we talk about this? Privately, without lawyers? We are 31 years past private conversations, Gloria. Everything goes through the court now. I've heard enough. I'm prepared to rule. In 31 years of marriage, Mr. Devereaux contributed 100% of household income. Mrs. Devereaux's documented discretionary spending exceeds $1.8 million. The forensic evidence is thorough and unchallenged. Mrs. Devereaux's claim that she sacrificed career opportunities is unsupported by any documentary evidence. Her claim of equitable contribution is contradicted by every financial record before this court. I will also note for the record the testimony regarding Mrs. Devereaux's absence during the funeral of her mother-in-law, which speaks to the nature of the partnership this court has been asked to evaluate. Your Honor, I'm not finished, Mr. Ash. I am awarding Mrs. Devereaux 15% of the pension value, reflecting the baseline domestic contribution over a 30-year marriage. Not 50, 15. The remaining 85% is retained by Mr. Devereaux. Additionally, I am ordering that Mrs. Devereaux's share be offset against documented discretionary overspending, which, after calculation, reduces her effective award to approximately 4%. Court is adjourned. Late afternoon light on the parking lot. Marcus, wait, doesn't that mean anything to you? It means everything to me. That's why I'm never letting anyone waste another 31. I made mistakes. Comfort made you careless. You stopped pretending to respect me around year 8. I noticed at year 8. I prepared from year 9. So I never had a chance. You had 30 years of chances, you spent them. Marcus, you lived off my labor, mocked my character, and buried my mother alone. And you still walked into that courtroom expecting a reward. That tells me everything about who you are. Goodbye, Gloria. You cannot negotiate desire. Hold your frame.